Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Learning Academy of Commerce. We will learn today the difference between corporate social responsibility and corporate philanthropy. So let's start. The first basis of difference is definition. Corporate social responsibility is a company's formal commitment to operating ethically and contributing to sustainable development while considering its impact on society and the environment. Whereas corporate philanthropy is a company's voluntary commitment towards the act of donating money, resources, or time to charitable causes or non profit organizations. Second point of difference is mandatory conditions. In case of CSR, in India, the companies are legally required as per the Companies Act 2013, Section 135, to allocate a certain percentage of their profits towards CSR activities as mandated by the government regulations or the legislation. Whereas, in case of corporate philanthropy, there are no mandatory conditions for corporate philanthropy and it is at the discretion of the company to engage in charitable giving. Indian scenario. In CSR, in India, the companies meeting specific financial criteria are required by law to spend at least 2% of their average net profits from the previous 3 years on CSR activities as per the Companies Act 2013. Whereas in corporate philanthropy, it is not so. Corporate philanthropy is not subject to any specific legal requirement in India. But many companies voluntarily engage in philanthropic activities as part of their social initiatives. Focus. Corporate social responsibility uses integrated approach, means aligning business operations with social and environmental concerns, whereas corporate philanthropy is based upon charitable giving, providing financial support or resources to specific causes or organizations. Scope. Corporate social responsibility is broader in scope. It involves considering the company's impact on various stakeholders, including employees, customers, communities, and the environment. Whereas corporate philanthropy is narrower in scope, primarily focused on supporting specific charitable causes or organizations. Dear friends, before proceeding to the next point, in addition to this video, I have already made many other related videos on CSR like basic concept of CSR in India, present form of CSR, issues and challenges in implementation of CSR, implementation process of CSR, Freeman's approach and stakeholder theory of CSR, impact of CSR on the company's profitability, implementation framework, 3 pillars or 3 P's, triple bottom line of CSR, etc. If you may be interested to watch these videos, I have provided the link of the related playlist in the description box. You can watch later on. So let's proceed further to some other points of difference between CSR and corporate philanthropy. So next point of difference is sustainability. Corporate social responsibility emphasizes long-term sustainability by integrating responsible practices into core business operations, whereas corporate philanthropy may not necessarily focus on long-term sustainability but aims to make a positive impact through charitable giving. Strategic alignment. CSR is aligned with the company's mission, values, and business strategies, whereas corporate philanthropy may or may not be directly aligned with the company's mission or business strategies. Impact. CSR aims to create positive social, environmental, and economic impact through responsible business practices, whereas corporate philanthropy primarily focused on providing financial or resource-based support to address specific social issues or community needs. Accountability. CSR requires transparency, reporting, and accountability to various stakeholders, whereas corporate philanthropy, here the accountability is primarily demonstrated through the act of giving and its impact. Approach. CSR uses integrated approach. It means it is embedded within the company's overall strategy, culture, and operations. Whereas corporate philanthropy is based upon charitable approach. It means it provides typically a stand-alone initiative or program separate from daily business operations. Engagement. CSR requires active engagement of employees, stakeholders, and communities to drive sustainable change, whereas corporate philanthropy may not involve direct employee or stakeholder engagement with the focus primarily on financial contributions. Long term and short term impact. CSR emphasizes creating sustainable long term impact through responsible business practices and addressing systematic issues. Whereas, in case of corporate philanthropy, it has a it has an immediate impact. It focuses on addressing immediate social needs or providing short term relief. Collaboration. CSR encourages collaboration with the stakeholders, including governments, NGOs, and local communities, to address complex societal challenges. Whereas corporate philanthropy may collaborate with specific charitable organizations or non-profit, but may not involve as much collaboration with diverse stakeholders. Risk mitigation. CSR helps identify and manage potential risk associated with environmental, social, and governance issues, fostering long-term business resilience. Whereas corporate philanthropy is primarily focused on reducing reputational risk by supporting social causes but may not address broader sustainability risk. Measurement and evaluation. CSR involves tracking and measuring the impact of CSR initiatives through key performance indicators known as KPIs and sustainability reporting. Whereas in case of corporate philanthropy, measurement may primarily focus on financial contributions such as the amount donated or the number of beneficiaries reached rather than the broader impact evaluation. So dear friends, before proceeding to the next point, in addition to this video, I have already made some other videos on corporate governance also, as you can see on this screen, like the basic principles of corporate governance, principles of good corporate governance, report of Cadbury Committee on Corporate Governance, Japanese model of corporate governance, Anglo-US model of corporate governance, German model, Indian model of corporate governance, etc. You may be interested to watch these videos. I have provided the link of the related playlist in the description box. You can watch later on. So let's proceed further with some other points of difference. Next point of this difference between corporate social responsibility and corporate philanthropy is stakeholder expectations. In CSR, there is increasingly expected by the stakeholders, including customers, investors, employees, and the communities, as a standard business practice. Whereas in corporate philanthropy, it is considered as a voluntary initiatives that may enhance a company's reputation but may not always a strict expectation from the stakeholders. Regulatory requirements. Corporate social responsibility may be subject to regulatory frameworks and reporting requirements depending on the jurisdiction and the industry. Whereas in corporate philanthropy, it usually not subject to specific regulatory requirements unless tied to tax benefits or the legal obligations. Company size. CSR is more commonly associated with the larger companies, particularly those meeting the threshold defined by regulatory frameworks. Whereas corporate philanthropy can be practiced by the companies of all sizes, from small businesses to multinational corporations. It is not limited to specific company sizes. Strategic focus. CSR focuses on aligning social and environmental initiatives with the company's overall strategy, core values, and impact on the stakeholders. Whereas corporate philanthropy may not be strategically aligned with the company's mission and business strategies, It may be driven by the personal motivations or the goodwill. Impact evaluation. CSR initiatives often involve comprehensive impact evaluation and reporting mechanisms to track progress, measure outcomes, and ensure transparency. Whereas corporate philanthropy may not have the same level of structured impact evaluation and reporting, with a greater emphasis on the act of giving rather than long term impact measurement. Stakeholder expectations. CSR is increasingly expected by stakeholders, including the customers, investors, employees, and the communities, as a demonstration of a company's commitment to sustainability and social impact. Whereas in corporate philanthropy may be seen as a positive gesture by the stakeholders, but it may not carry the same level of expectation or security as the CSR. Scope of activities. CSR encompasses a wider range of activities beyond charitable giving, including sustainability initiatives, ethical business practices, employee welfare, environmental conservation, community development, and more. Whereas corporate philanthropy predominantly involves donating funds, resources, or services to charitable organizations or causes, with a focus on immediate relief or support for specific social issues. Stakeholder engagement. CSR involves active engagement of stakeholders, including employees, customers, local communities, and NGOs. It seeks their input, collaboration, and involvement in the decision making processes and social impact initiatives. Whereas corporate philanthropy may not necessarily involve direct stakeholder engagement beyond the act of giving. It may be driven by the company's leadership or philanthropic goals rather than extensive stakeholder involvement. Recommendation. CSR is recommended for the companies aiming to integrate sustainable business practices, responsible business conduct, and long term social impact into their core operations strategy and stakeholder relationships. Whereas corporate philanthropy is suitable for companies looking to support specific causes, give back to communities, and enhance their reputation through charitable giving without a comprehensive integration of sustainability practices. Examples. Examples of CSR include implementing sustainable business practices, reducing environmental footprint, fostering employee well-being, supporting local communities, promoting diversity and inclusion. Whereas the examples of corporate philanthropy include donating funds to disaster relief efforts, sponsoring educational programs, funding medical research, providing scholarships, supporting non-profit organizations, etc. So you must have understood all the points of difference between CSR and corporate philanthropy. If you like the video, do like, share and subscribe and comment in the comment box. Thank you.